Somebody help! What do you want? Somebody help! Who are you? What do you want? Somebody help! Who are you?
Are you all right, miss?
I don't know. Who were those people? They wanted to kill me. Why?
They've lost their minds in the epidemic. They won't come back for now.
You seem to know a lot about them, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm investigating this disease.
I am Xiaoxun. Thank you so much for helping me, Mr. Reed. I must go to the cemetery now. Goodbye.
It's locked, all right. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Best turn around if I were you. Oi! Didn't you hear me?
Stay close, keep an eye on each other. We're locked out. Stay close, keep an eye on each other.
Bloody monster! It's closed. I'll kill you!
Whitechapel. This neighborhood is linked somehow to the kind Lady Ashbury's blackmail. First, let's find this Petrescu fellow. It's locked.
Me? I'll not die in some piss-stinking alley reeking worse than a...
Are you all right?
The bastard hit the wall next to me. I don't even know if he meant to miss.
If you've been hurt, I can help you. I'm a doctor.
Name's Albert. Remember it. Now bugger off.
What happened? Did you really steal that man's medication?
Hey, I didn't do anything. It ain't me.
All right. Perhaps the poor drunk just confused you with someone else.
Shut off, mister. You ain't got no clue what's going on here. Bastard was a soldier in the war, so now he's got the right to shoot me.
It's true. I'm not familiar with this part of town. Perhaps you could help me.
I said sod off. Go find yourself another guide.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? If you know anything about her, I'd appreciate it.
Never heard of her. She's pretty, I'll keep an eye out.
Goodbye, young man.
The wet boots will be proud of me.
Someday you'll understand. You wasted your life away.
Me? I'll not die in some
What?
piss
Shooting a
stinking
boy
alley.
in the middle of the street? Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say?
What? You saw what happened? Who are you?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promise me to set your gun aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer, doctor. And no one can help me. Not even you.
What can you tell me about this place?
Nothing to say, really. This is where I used to live, and this is where I live now.
You don't have anywhere to go? No family that would welcome you?
Not since the death of my wife, Albert's mother. She was sick, you see. Long before the flu and all this shit.
You mean you used to have a better life?
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a job. I even used to have a name. And now I'm just Ben. Ben the Tramp.
Perhaps you could focus for a moment and tell me your troubles.
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my pills. Everything's coming up roses.
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy he just faked me last nerve.
What is it, Benjamin? It was the war, wasn't it? Your nerves are shot, aren't they? I need some answers, Private. From one soldier to another.
The doctors called me a liar, a coward. Put me in a straitjacket, locked me up. Finally, they sent me back to the front lines with a handful of tablets.
Yes. Sounds like shell shock. I've seen a few cases like yours. This is nothing you should be ashamed of, Benjamin. And it's perfectly natural in your situation.
I'm not ashamed. I just need my pills. Peace and quiet, that's all.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Have you heard anything?
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. I need some pills. But the woman is a phantom, if you ask me.
Really? And why is that?
Word is she ain't real. She's a cover for some doctor who runs an illegal dispensary for migrants.
You don't seem well, Benjamin. Do you need any help?
I always feel ill, sir. It's like I'm never right.
I will see you later. A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
Me? I'll not die in some piss stinking alley reeking worse than a week-old lavvy.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
What do you think of the locals?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
Its effectiveness has been proven by many. Even the flu is no match. Swanborough cordial. The Swanborough cordial can be the answer to all your problems. As long as you have the money.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be for Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nithercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
I must talk to that. Journalist or the poet, they must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned. I must insist, sir. Please let me see Nurse Crane.
I have no time for you, sir.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
It's a disgrace. People are left to die alone. No one is properly informed of the risks.
These are bad times indeed. So much for the glorious British Empire.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
I'm convinced there is more at work here than a simple epidemic.
Really? To be honest, I could say the same. Some of the sick I saw or heard of. My God, what happened to them?
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm afraid one of the nurses from the Pembroke Hospital may be involved with unsavory activities.
Ah, could it be Dorothy Crane?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
He has no relatives at all?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell. Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth?
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Fire is just the instinctive answer of a caveman facing something he does not understand. This is the 20th century.
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. The Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool?
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption, more and more people die in the streets.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
Or
quite a I am. Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
Where did you send him?
I sent...
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear no evil while he walks through the valley of the shadow of death.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
So, you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fiber.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in her country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye.
Soon the time will come when you will all rejoice for your
Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London. and you could be exposed. Or expose others.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
You can put your own life in danger, that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly, but it is not your concern, Doctor.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothea Crăciunescu. She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you a few questions. I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly. I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it? Camellia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever. Very well. Goodbye then. It's locked. The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter.
Get them weapons ready! Die, vermin! Go back to the shadow! Stay back, beast! Back, demon! Back!
It's locked, all right.
Pay me a glass and I'll be gentle. Pay me a bottle and I'll be nasty.
Imprisoned by your daily routine!
It's locked.